Hi, I'm going to make a video about a video. You're about to get about 20 minutes of the anatomy of one of my videos. Now, I shot this video about a month ago. I am not the best video maker on the earth. My ham radio videos are pretty decent, but I would be completely arrogant to think that mine is any better than somebody else or somebody in Malaysia that we've never heard of before that's just killing it with his videos. So I'm not holding this up on a pedestal to say this is the gold standard by any means. But I think it does give you a good look at all the elements that go into telling a story and how I do it. And so it's going to be a lot better for me to just show you one of my videos and then tell you how I did it or why I did it, than to just sit here and show PowerPoint slide after PowerPoint slide. Okay, so let's get started. I'm gonna stop and talk as we go here. I'm gonna go back to the very beginning of this video. Hey everybody, this is Cliff for CCP. I have been working down here in North. Okay, did you notice that I immediately started talking to a camera? People want to see you talk to them. When you make these videos, you need to think about, like, maybe you're FaceTiming a friend. Maybe you've got a friend who's sick and shut in and can't get out and do things, so they're living vicariously through you. I immediately started talking to the camera. I did not ask them to like or subscribe or to contribute to a Patreon account or anything like that. I don't have a Patreon account, and I don't even ask people to subscribe or like. I just do it and hope that some people will like it and will subscribe. But I immediately started talking. I've given them no value yet, so why should I ask them to subscribe? If this is the first time they've ever seen me, I have done nothing except tell them where I am right now. So if you're gonna ask people to subscribe and like, why not move it a little further into the video after you've given them some kind of nugget of wisdom, something that would make them want to come back and watch another one of your videos. Moving on. Orlando, working a trade show for my company. I got to go back home tomorrow, but I thought I'd come out here to the park at Lake Louisa State Park, US 18. All right, I just told you why I'm away from home on a business trip, where I am. And now I'm showing you a screenshot of Google Maps where this park is in relation to the city I'm in Orlando. Okay? 93. Again, I'm telling a story. So far, you've seen one clip of me talking and then this overlay to show people where I am. HODA jargon. They've got an equestrian area with a pavilion back here. Okay, I just told you where I'm going to be operating. It's in the obscure back corner of this park where there's a little pavilion. I'm going to move on. I tell you where I'm going. And now I'm going to show you some scenery. This is only the second clip. One clip, me talking into the camera. The second clip here, me showing some scenery with the camera turned around. Now people know exactly where I am. They know how to get there. And they're seeing what they would see if they were there. Okay? I'm going to scoot forward a little bit. More scenery. All right. Again, I'm in an obscure back left corner of this park, and you have to leave the paved road and go down through this gate down a gravel road, and I'm showing you how to get there. To a place where there's a sign for the equestrian area. And you take a right. So if you want to follow me, if you want to come back next week, next month, next year, and do this POTA, I'm giving you all the breadcrumbs to help you experience it as if you were sitting in the passenger seat with me. All right, I'm going to skip forward. A hawk flew in front of me up into a tree. I stopped for a second and just showed that. That's pretty cool. Now, after I showed that, I said something like, this is a kind of a bonus, the kind of things you get to see when you go to a national park. Well, guess what? This is a state park. So I drop in an annotation. He's going to fly away here. You see that? This is a state park, I say in the top right-hand corner. I misspeak all the time. So I can use annotations like this to correct myself or to fill in some gaps in things that I forgot to say. You can also say things like, I can't remember what this antenna cost, but I think it was about $79.95. when you get home, you can go look that up, and you can drop an annotation on the screen so that you're telling the viewer exactly what it did cost. You couldn't recall at the time, and of course, as you get older, you may have a senior moment or two, if you're like me. Annotations are a big deal because they let you correct things and provide additional context and information later. All right, let's move in. All right, so now I'm driving up to this place. Here, over there to the right, there is some bathrooms. Bathrooms are good. Bathrooms. That's always a wonderful sight to see when you're working putt. Now here I am showing you where the pavilion is and where to park. Now before I get out of the car, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit more. While I go out and start setting up, I want you to look at a couple of clips. So I actually came to the park yesterday and made a bunch of contacts, but I really wasn't happy with my video. I basically did nothing except just show my hands on the camera, my hands on the radio, and I felt like there was more that I could show and should show, and so I wanted to come back the next day anyway. But I thought, well, when I go back the next day, I'm gonna do a better job at filming this. So that was kind of what the point of this day was: make some good contacts, hopefully, but also to do a better job of filming this. So I do show a couple of clips. There's me working Spain on my POTA yesterday, which was unexpected but awful cool. And then another contact I made after the contact was over, the ham that I contacted sent me a picture, and he was using a KH1 by a riverbank, and he had seen a previous video of mine where I was showing my new KH1, and I was so happy with it. So he figured I was probably using a KH1. Anyway, he sent me that picture. His name's Glenn. Because I'm having a senior moment right now, I'll put Glenn's call sign up on the screen as I'm editing this, so he'll get some credit for being a nice guy. So moving on. All right, now I'm there. I'm showing you the gear. People want to see what your gear is. Remember, this is a series of clips. Here's another clip where I'm just showing you my gear laid out on the table. In this case, it's incredibly compact. It's just my Elecraft radio in that pouch, a ground-mounted vertical, and the coax to connect it to. That's it. Everything else I brought with me that day was just audio and video stuff. Okay, I'm telling you about my antenna here, and then I go put a camera on the ground, and I show me setting this camera up. Now, setting this antenna up, I should say. I decided to run this clip at really fast speeds so that people wouldn't have to sit through me going through 5 minutes of this. And then I bring out an antenna analyzer and I show you what the SWR is of this antenna. And in this case, I found that when I put this antenna up, the SWR was better above the 20 meter band, which means the antenna is too short. So it means I needed to go out in the field and I needed to adjust the length of that to let expand the segments of that antenna to make it longer electrically, so that it would be a better match for my 20 meter band. So I talk about that, and then I go out into the field and I make this change. Then I come back to the antenna analyzer. Okay, now we're going down to 14.1 again. And now at 14.1, you can see it. Okay, we're 1.3 to 1 now. Again, I'm telling the story. If you were there with me, you'd be watching me do this, and we'd be talking about it. But since you can't be there, I kind of owe it to you to explain what's happening. All right, now, I've got my camera. I'm using an action camera right at my chest. There's a tripod that's basically like a stick tripod with a small base, so you can snuggle up right up next to it, next to the picnic table, and have it as if you're wearing like a chest-mounted camera harness. But this is a little bit better because you can see the back of the camera and see what's in the frame and that kind of thing. So I'm going to call QRL ? Okay. Now something's about to happen. Whoa. Look at that. A second camera. I brought a second camera. Now this second camera is just another action camera, just like that one, and it's on a tiny tabletop tripod. There's some alliteration for you. And it gives me a way to have a second angle where I can talk to that camera, or that camera can capture me talking. There are a lot of private thoughts that you have when you're out doing this kind of thing. And when you're making a video, you need to kind of say the quiet parts out loud so that people are understanding what you're thinking, what's going through your mind as you're doing this. If they're truly able to live vicariously, through this video and to have a ham portable ops event without actually going outside. I'm hearing nothing. Let me spot myself here. Okay, I'm about to spot myself on the POTA app on my phone. Now you're going to see a jump cut, which is when you abruptly cut from one clip to the next clip. And I rarely do that in my videos. I mean, almost never. But here's an example. Watch carefully at my face. Boom. Did you see that? A little distracting. It's no problem. You can do that. I don't normally do that, but here's a case where I just didn't want to have the viewer take the time to watch me fumble through bringing up that app and typing in the stuff I'm spotting, So I just did a jump cut, and now I'm about to put that phone away and call CQ. Okay, I just added the spot. Let's fire this thing up, see what happens. It's always a little tense moment when you get started. You never know what's going to happen. Again, I'm kind of talking, telling you what I'm thinking, and now I cut back to my primary camera so that you can watch me actually sending the code and calling CQ. After I call CQ, something tragic happens, and you're about to see that. Okay, watch this. I pick up that pencil. Drop my pencil. So I just called CQ. There's a station returning my call instantly, and I dropped the pencil. If I didn't have the second camera, you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see how, all you would see is that pencil slip out of my hand, but you wouldn't know that it went down to the ground on my left, and I blew this first call by being a klutz and losing my pencil. Notice I'm starting to write without having advanced any pencil lead out of the pencil. Oops. I did not catch that guy's call because I was so distracted, and so I'm about to send AGN again, and I drop in an annotation at the bottom of the screen after when I do so, saying there's no shame in calling again if you don't get it. If I had thought to say that out loud right there, I would have, but I didn't think to say that. But it is something I want people to understand, people who are new to this. It's perfectly fine to ask for a repeat. As a matter of fact, that station doesn't know that I don't have a high noise floor or I don't have another competing station that's calling me at the same time. He doesn't know. So calling again, he doesn't know that I'm an idiot, basically. So, all right, let's move past that. Well, first of all, I think there's something that would be interesting to point out here to you. That little tabletop tripod, let me get this pencil out of my hand so that you can see better. I'll just stop right here. Here is the legs of the little tiny tabletop tripod and the action cameras that's sitting on top of that to give you that second camera angle. Over here is a Zoom H4 Essential digital video or audio recorder, and it has a stereo mic up here at the top that I don't ever use, but at the bottom it's got two XLR inputs, and I use XLR to 3.5 millimeter adapters so that I can run the audio from the KH1 here, my radio, directly into that recorder. Now, what does that get me? Well, it allows you, the viewer, to not have to hear the audio coming from that little tiny speaker from that amazing little radio. I also am not using an external speaker here, which would make the radio sound a lot better, but it's still not as good as having the audio directly from the headphone jack of that radio into an audio recorder. The second input on the audio recorder is used for my lavalier microphone. So by having my radio audio and my voice recorded separately on two different tracks, I can adjust one or the other or both when I go to edit. So you get cleaner video and more control after the fact. So that's what's going on here with this other gear that's on the table. moving on. We're kind of in the home stretch here, guys. There are times when I cut away to the second camera so that you can see me saying something.
Got swarmed by some mosquitoes or something. It's terrible.
Again, I'm telling a story. I'm talking to you. I'm telling you as if you're there with me what's happening. If I don't say that kind of stuff, it's fine. You know, a bunch of gnats attacking me is probably inconsequential to those of you who are just looking at the call signs and watching the radio part. But this is part of the bigger story. I was actually swarmed and really uncomfortable that day. It's like after 6 o'clock in the evening. It's late in the day. I got a late start, and now the bugs are coming out. And so I'm telling that as part of the story. I'm going to cut back to my primary camera.
Texas.
You just saw me send some bad Morse code there. And that's another point. You know, you're a flawed human being. You know, we all are, right? We all make mistakes. And man, if I felt bad about making mistakes on camera, I'd never make another video in my life. You're going to screw up. We all are. None of us are perfect, and some are less perfect than others. And that is another thing that makes your videos watchable, is your humanity. I know that sounds kind of silly, but it's true. You know, you spend enough time watching people's videos, and you sort of feel like you know that person. I can't tell you how many of Thomas Witherspoon's videos I've seen. I've never met Thomas Witherspoon. I expect to during 4 days in May this year, but I feel like I kind of know him a little bit, right? Because we've spent so much time watching his videos, and we kind of see his personality, like we've been sitting next to him on this picnic table, you know, watching and playing radio with him for all this time. So making mistakes is not a bad thing. You know, it just makes you more human, which is always a great thing, I think. All right, so we just keep logging these things. Occasionally I'll cut back to myself talking, saying something. And then when I get to the end of this thing, I want to show you that I always do a wrap up of some kind. So let's go back to this. I've finished. I've already done. I've called QRT. I've wrapped up, and now
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you have to have 10.
So I'm talking to you, right? I just cut to the primary camera to show you me counting this stuff up, and now I'm talking to the second camera.
I just barely got them in the wire. It's kind of no telling, but I mean, it's 6:15 local time, and I'm getting eaten up by these mosquitoes or no-see-em.
Okay, so I'm doing a little recap of what's happening here. I just turned on closed caption for some reason. Let's get to the very end because I'm kind of long-winded if you haven't noticed. I'm going to wrap this thing up. Now watch what happens when I wrap it up.
With me, and
let me go back just a few seconds.
You for riding here with me, and I'll disassemble everything and get the heck out of here. But if you get a chance, come out here to Lake.
Okay, look what just happened. I wrapped up with a summary of what we accomplished here. I thanked the viewer for hanging out with me during this, and now I'm leaving them with a call to action. I'm saying, hey, come out here and do this. You know, I've just showed you where it is on a map. I've showed you how to drive back here. I've showed you what you're going to see when you get back here. I've showed you where you can set up your antenna. I've showed me working a bunch of stations in here and having fun in spite of the bugs, which I honestly believe that's just part of the time of day that I was out there. And now I'm giving this call to action so that my viewers hopefully will be motivated or encouraged to go do this, because I do want people to go out and work QRP and do some fun things. That's part of my thing. That's part of what QRP School is about, is to encourage people to get out there. So I always try to end my videos with something like that. And with that, I'm going to end this video.